Hi, I'm Rev Myron. I'm a minister through Pathways of Light, and I've been a Course in Miracles teacher for a long time now. I've been studying the Course since 1981 or two, I forget. This year I'm going through the text again, asking Jesus to clarify for me as I read, and then I write from that clarity, and that's what I'm sharing with you today. So let's get started. We're reading from A Course in Miracles, Chapter 8, Section 3, The Holy Encounter. And we're going to read paragraphs 6, 7, and 8. Paragraph 6 says, "The kingdom cannot be found alone, and you who are the kingdom cannot find yourself alone. To achieve the goal of the curriculum, then, you cannot listen to the ego whose purpose is to defeat its own goal. The ego does not know this because it does not know anything, but you can know it, and you will know it if you're willing to look at what the ego would make of you. This is your responsibility, because once you have really looked at it, you will accept the atonement for yourself. What other choice could you make? Having made this choice, you will understand why you once believed that when you met someone else, you thought he was someone else. And every holy encounter in which you enter fully will teach you this is not so." Two very important ideas got my attention in this paragraph. The first is that to achieve the goal of the curriculum, I cannot listen to the ego because the ego doesn't know anything. It is my responsibility to look at what the ego would make of me and accept the atonement for myself instead. I'm convinced of this, having done just that for a long time now. I continue to be vigilant for the thoughts and beliefs that the ego mind offers. As I pay attention to my feelings and my actions and words, I become aware of what they tell me about my beliefs. It's easy to mistake understanding a concept for healing. I can say all the right words and I can understand intellectually and even accept intellectually what A Course in Miracles is teaching me. However, unless I'm living them, they're just information. How do I know if I'm living what I'm learning? I just look at my life. How do I feel? Am I peaceful and happy? If not, then I need to pay closer attention. I need to become aware of what thought I'm accepting as true that is really an ego thought, and then accept the atonement for that mistake. In accepting the atonement, I'm asking the Holy Spirit to remove from my mind the thought that is not in alignment with the truth. It's another way of saying I forgive it. The second thing that caught my attention was this sentence. "Having made this choice, you will understand why you once believed that when you met someone else, you thought he was someone else." First, Jesus very clearly states that we are not separate. The lady who took my breakfast order when I was out is not someone else. She's part of my own self. The body she is employing for this separation story is designed to keep the secret that she is me, but I'm not fooled. At least I'm not fooled right now. We're not truly separate, just as we're not truly the body device we use in the story of separate beings having separate experiences. I say that I'm not fooled right now because I'm sitting alone in my home, listening to the Holy Spirit, feeling his closeness, and remembering what I am. Then I leave the house and I meet many people coming and going during the day, and I get caught up in the story, and maybe I'll forget my unity with all that is. But I never completely forget anymore. During the day, I will suddenly remember as I speak to the store clerk that I am not separate. Or I'll catch a glance of someone on the street and I will remember the truth for that instant. Or driving alone in my car, I will know for that brief time that I'm not really alone and never could be. Oh, to know this is my experience all the time, to never forget, to never be confused again. This is why I study A Course in Miracles, why I commune with Spirit, and why I'm vigilant for every thought that would take me from my goal. I want to feel the perfect peace, the absolute joy of knowing what we are. I can peek behind the veil and experience this joining, at least to some extent, as I allow it to happen in each holy encounter. Today, I would enter fully into each holy encounter so that I can have the full experience of our oneness. I ask for help to remember my purpose. Paragraph 7 says, you can encounter only part of yourself because you are a part of God who is everything. This power and glory are everywhere, and you cannot be excluded from them. The ego teaches that your strength is in you alone. The Holy Spirit teaches that all strength is in God and therefore in you. God wills no one suffer. He does not will anyone to suffer for a wrong decision, including you. That is why he has given you the means for undoing it. Through his power and glory, all your wrong decisions are undone completely, releasing you and your brother from every imprisoning thought any part of the sonship holds. Wrong decisions have no power because they are not true. The imprisonment they seem to produce is no more true than they are. In choosing separation, we made a wrong decision, but God does not will that we suffer for it. He only wants our happiness, so he's given us a means to correct our errors. This original error is repeated over and over in our lives, appearing in different forms, but it's all the same error. The ego is always trying to find ways to correct my errors, either that or to project them on to others in an attempt to make me feel safer. But I'm not meant to correct my errors alone because I'm not alone. That is just another mistake. I have been given a corrector, and the way to make use of that gift is to turn my guilty thoughts over to him to be undone. I made mistakes when I was raising my children, and for a long time, I suffered from those errors. But then I learned that I have a Holy Spirit that undoes this error and ends my suffering. When I feel guilt thoughts about parenting, I remember that God does not will I suffer from that error. And I ask the Holy Spirit to remove from my mind the belief that I am forever imprisoned by a wrong decision. As he undoes my decision, I'm released from my fear. I made mistakes in my relationships and mistakes as a teacher of God. I made wrong decisions many times, and all those wrong decisions were a reflection of the decision for separation. But none of those decisions, not the original error or any of the reflective errors, is real. And so they have no real power and are easily undone by one who was created for that purpose. As I allow the Holy Spirit to undo these wrong decisions that I seem to make daily, I'm allowing him to correct the original error and free us all from our belief in guilt. Paragraph 8. Power and glory belong to God alone, and so do you. God gives whatever belongs to him because he gives of himself, and everything belongs to him. Giving of yourself is a function he gave you. Fulfilling it perfectly will let you remember what you have of him, and by this you will remember also what you are in him. You cannot be powerless to do this because this is your power. Glory is God's gift to you because that is what he is. See his glory everywhere to remember what you are. So power and glory belong to God, and so do I. I belong to God. I love to think that I belong to God. Because it is his nature to create by giving himself, he gave me everything that belongs to him. And it's my function to do the same because it is a function he gave me. In fulfilling my function, I will know that what I have and what I am. It won't be just words and concepts, but will be what I know. In addition, I'm told that I'm not powerless to do this because he also gave me his power. Finally, I'm told that glory is God's gift to me, but I must see this glory everywhere to remember what I am. I restated everything in this paragraph because I wanted to be sure I understood it. At first, it was hard for me to get what Jesus was telling me. He seems to be telling me that God creates by giving all of himself to his creations and that I'm to do that as well. I think the reason I had trouble at first understanding is that I was thinking of myself as the ego self. as if he were talking to Myron, the character in my story. The ego personality cannot imagine what to do with those words. It has no idea how to give all of itself. Giving even a bit of itself often seems like a burden, and generally it gives only because it expects something in return. However, as I realized that this was not instructions to the ego, but to my true self, it began to make sense. I don't remember what this feels like, but the memory is in my mind somewhere so that I can retrieve it. I can find that memory as I let go of the little self I made to take the place of my true self. Jesus reminds me of my power and glory, and this is something else I don't remember, but it is an incentive to do the work necessary to reach the truth in my mind. First, I know I have the power to do so, and I want to know my glory. I'm also given a clue as to how to begin this search. I am to look for the glory everywhere because if it is anywhere, it is everywhere. It is not just in some people or in special places, but everywhere. I put this into practice in very simple and practical ways. When I see that I'm looking with my ego at another ego, I remember that this can't be right. I ask the Holy Spirit to correct my perception. I ask to see the glory that is right before me, and I ask for vision and make no exceptions. I leave no one out. I don't tilt my head at just the right angle, squint my eyes, hold my tongue just right. In other words, I don't try to see glory through these eyes the ego made. I simply request that the glory that is of God be revealed to me. I give my willingness to see. This must work because I am simply following the instructions I have been given, and because I have been given the power to do this. Actually, I know this works because I've experienced it. Now I am willing to see as God sees. Open my heart to this. I'm willing to put aside all of the goals the ego has offered me. So what does this have to do with the holy encounter? I understand now that it is the holy encounter. As I encounter a brother and choose to disregard his appearance, I truly see him. I see into him. And the glory I see there is reflected back to me as I realize that he's the mirror in which I see myself. It's an amazing thing to glimpse my holiness in this way. And it is a reason I'm willing to accept this as my function. And this is a reason I'm willing to look into everyone rather than looking at them. I want to mention again about the quantum counseling conference that's coming up. There are 16 teachers. Oh, make that 17 teachers. Evidently, someone has been added. And just right offhand, I can see besides myself, there's going to be John Mundy and Gary Renard, Cindy, Alan Cohen. Let's see, who else do I recognize? Bill Free, John Mundy, I said him, Dove, who, if you've not heard him, he's excellent. Maria Filippi, I don't know, there are more. The web pages went down earlier today, and people were trying to register for the quantum counseling program and couldn't get in. So they've extended the deadline for the early bird to midnight Pacific time on Saturday, February the 3rd. My 2-hour session will be on April the 2nd at 1 o'clock Eastern. It will be recorded in case the time doesn't work for you. All of them will be recorded. To learn more about that, to see who all is going to be there and just learn how it works, there's a place for you to click on in this reading, and also I'll put it on the YouTube in the comment section. I'll tell you a little bit about it. Counseling from an ACIM perspective is a quantum kind of counseling. When we apply the principles of A Course in Miracles, we're able to have realizations of truth that provide a quantum leap in consciousness. It's that holy instant of healing that is truly miraculous. This program with 16, I'd rather make that 17, A Course in Miracles teachers who've been counseling people one-on-one for years, is for anyone who's interested in doing a deep dive into what healing at the level of the mind means and what it looks like in a practical, experiential way. Your understanding of A Course in Miracles will become so much clearer. In this quantum counseling program, we'll share what we've learned about working with ego identification and how we change our mind in order to go the other way. This is perfect for someone who would like to have a much greater understanding of how to apply these ACIM principles in order to experience transformation. It's also perfect for anyone who's interested in counseling or working with clients in a coaching environment. Being a counselor and a coach for all these years has taught me so much, and that's what I'll be sharing in this quantum counseling program with 17 Course in Miracles teachers coming up in just about a week. Jennifer Hadley, who's sponsoring this, will be the first speaker and the last speaker. So you don't want to miss her. She's really good. The early bird ends on Saturday, February 3rd at midnight Pacific. So thanks for hanging in there with me. I know this was a long one today. I hope that you found it helpful. If you did, then please like it. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. And I'll be back soon with another reading. See you then.